Haliburton looking. Haliburton driving, pulls off, jump shot. It's good! It's good! With 0.3 of a second remaining. Timeout, OKC. Tyrese Haliburton does it again. Their first lead of the game.
Halliburton's theatrics still reverberating around Oklahoma City and the entire basketball universe. Paycom Center, the site of basketball epicenter. And today we are live on NBA TV. This is NBA Finals media availability presented by YouTube TV with the NBA champion Brendan Haywood. I'm Jared Greenberg. For the next several hours, we will take you back and forth to Paycom Center in Oklahoma City and hear from Tyrese Haliburton, hear from other players in the Pacers, and certainly we'll want to get the reaction from the Thunder as they prepare to bounce back from that ridiculous Game 1 win by the Pacers and Tyrese Haliburton.
Yeah, it was a big-time game. Very exciting. Haymakers being thrown by both clubs. It seemed like, once again, the Pacers were down and out. But the thing you have to give this Pacers team credit for is that next play mentality that they have. There's been so many times where you look at this team and you think, oh, man, this is their time to lose, or they can't come back from this one. And they just never get deterred. If you hit a couple of big threes, there's only a couple minutes left, they just keep playing their style of basketball. They take the ball out right through the net. They keep going. They're playing at a high level. So their next play mentality, the way Rick Carlisle has them prepared, is probably why they're up 1-0 right now. In addition to hearing from the players and coaches at the podium, we'll hear from Stephanie Reddy, who will be in the stands talking with a couple of different players throughout the afternoon and evening. But first, let's go back out live to Paycom Center, where Sean Powell from NBA.com is joining us to talk about what has happened and what we expect to happen in Sunday's Game 2. Sean, it's been 48 hours nearly since that ridiculous shot from Tyrese Haliburton. Have people in OKC been able to digest what exactly went down in Game 1 just yet?
Well, if you talk to people around here, you know, this is a state that has to endure hurricanes and storms. So if they can survive that, they can survive a Game 1. And the other thing with Oklahoma City is you look at this team, they won 68 games all year. They had the MVP. They had this great, point differential, record point differential in the league. And then they just sweep Memphis in the first round. So the one thing you worried about this team is if adversity ever hit, how would they handle it? Because they have no experience in handling adversity this season. And I think that series with Denver sort of prepared them for losing Game 1. Because if you go back to that series with Denver, they lost the first game, they bounced back strong. They were down 2-1, they bounced back strong. They had a Game 7, and in that Game 7, if you recall, Nikola Jokic played well at the start, Aaron Gordon was courageous at the start. They sort of stunned Oklahoma City in that Game 7, but Oklahoma City closed strong. So I think they'll take those lessons learned from that Denver series. And also they lost a game to Minnesota in the conference finals, got wiped out in the game. They came back strong from that. I think they'll take those lessons learned from those situations. And I think, at least mentally anyway, they're going to bounce back in Game 2. Now, whether the performance is up to snuff, that's the real question.
Yeah, let's just follow up on that with Oklahoma City. As you've mentioned, there hasn't been that much adversity, but they have found ways, whether it was against Denver or against Minnesota, to bounce back. But specifically, I think people are looking to the MVP. With those great rewards come expectations for you, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to respond. What is your expectation of what we'll see from him Sunday night?
I think he'll play well. I think Shai has like a lot of MVPs, I think he has an enormous amount of pride. And I think he saw how Andrew Nembhard had shook him a little bit on that step-back three-point shot, and also how Shai missed that step-back shot himself that would have given Oklahoma City a lead, that maybe they would have won the game. And by the way, about that shot that Shai missed, I mean, how many times does that happen? I mean, this is the MVP. He makes a living off that mid-range step-back 15-foot, 18-foot jumper. So I think he feels that, you know what, I played a good game. I didn't play a perfect game. I didn't play a game up to my standards. At least I didn't finish that way. And I think if you go back and look at that game, Shai was really tremendous in that game. But those critical moments in the fourth quarter, defensively, when he couldn't start Nembhard, and also when he missed that shot, he says, you know what, against this Indiana team, an Indiana team that's very tough and it closes strong, I may have to be perfect.
We will hear from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at the podium in just a few moments when he takes a seat and speaks to the international throng of media that has ascended upon Oklahoma City. You mentioned Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's countryman, Andrew Nembhard, while Tyrese Haliburton, rightfully so, got all the headlines for his antics ending that game with that dramatic shot. It is the play of Andrew Nembhard on both sides of the basketball that really deserves a lot of credit for helping Tyrese Haliburton get in position to make that shot, Sean.
Yeah, if you're Andrew Nembhard, you're like, hey, man, I had to guard Jalen Brunson the previous round, and now I've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP. So he's got his work cut out for him. But if you look at their history together, they both grew up in the Toronto area in Canada. Andrew Nembhard and Shai. Andrew Nembhard's known Shai and defended Shai longer than anybody in the NBA. Because those guys used to square off in high school. And then, their careers took different turns. Obviously, Shai went to Kentucky, went to the NBA. Andrew Nembhard had to spend 4 years in college. And by the way, last couple years, he was Chet Holmgren's teammate at Gonzaga. So he's got a connection against Chet. He's got a deeper connection against Shai. But I think Andrew Nembhard is really growing up in these playoffs. Again, he's had to guard the top two offensive point guards in the NBA in terms of scoring. So you don't have any choice. You have to grow up if you're playing Jalen Brunson. And I think that was great prep for now against Shai. Even on the biggest stage with the lights and all that, Andrew Nembhard is not scared. And I think he showed that in the fourth quarter, offensively and defensively, against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
No question. Sean Powell to the people. Great job, as always. We'll hear from you a little later on, as well as Stephanie Reddy inside of Paycom Center. Thanks to Sean, as we are back in Studio V here in Atlanta with Brendan Haywood. Let's get your reaction by looking ahead to what you think the biggest keys are for both Oklahoma City and Indiana as we go into Sunday's game 2.
Well, both teams have things that I think they can do a lot differently, and they can do well that will help either squad win the game. Starting off, we're going to look at what it is for OKC. Got to clean the glass. The rebound advantage was 56-39 in favor of the Pacers. Got to do your work. Jalen Williams, he has to step up. Only 6 of 19. Hey, Batman definitely needs a Robin, and Robin was missing in game 1. And I would attack Miles Turner in the pick and roll. SGA was getting whatever he wanted to when they went into a drop coverage or they switched Miles Turner on him. If I'm Mark Daigneault, I'm going at that matchup early and often. On the flip side, we know what it is for the Pacers. They had 20-plus turnovers in the first half alone. Very rarely do you win games like that. Got to protect the ball, cut down on those turnovers. And then secondly, you want to get out in transition. We understand this OKC defense is elite in the half court. You want as many easy buckets as possible. Want to get those transition numbers up, maybe somewhere around 17, 18 points per game. As we saw, they only had 11 in the first game. So those would be the keys for me right now, looking at both of these ball clubs.
You're looking, if you're the Pacers, at this is glass half full or glass half empty with the way they played in that first half versus the way they played the last 12 minutes of the game?
I think both teams, depending on what locker room you're in, you're going to be looking at it as half full. Both teams are going to be looking at it the same way. So the Pacers are going to say, hey, guys, we stole game 1. Our best player didn't play that well. He hit the shot, but he only had 14 points. We had, I think, 25 total turnovers 24 turnovers as a team. You rarely win those games, and we were able to get game 1. If you're Rick Carlisle, you're telling your guys, if we clean these turnovers up, get a little bit better play out of Haliburton, we have a chance to go home up 2-0. So that is exactly the way the Pacers are looking at it. But on the flip side, there's a lot of things that OKC is saying, hey, we dominated this game. We led from start to almost finished.
Right.
From the beginning all the way to point 3, we led this game. Defensively, we caused problems. SGA was able to score 38 points. We did a lot of really, really good things. We just got to clean up some small things as far as defensive rebounding and making sure that we understand where we need to be as far as cleaning up some of those three-point looks. Because you look at the Pacers bench, they went 7 of 10 from their core guys off the bench from the three-point line between Toppin, Bryant, and what's the guard's name?
And Nembhard.
No, off the bench, man. Off the bench. Help your boy out.
TJ McConnell.
TJ McConnell. There you go.
Yeah, I got you. Coming up in the second half of the show, we will hear from your former head coach, Rick Carlisle. Two of you linked up and won a championship in Dallas. We'll talk about that connection.
Right? Yeah.
He's come from behind by 15 or more in the fourth quarter twice.
Rick, it was
Let's hear from the head coach of the Pacers at the podium.
About how much the game has changed in your time as a head coach, but you've always stayed on top of the offensive evolution. And I wanted to know, what do you enjoy about the way the game is played today that appeals to your offensive sensibilities?
Speed, skill. I think the skill aspect is the thing that's the most compelling part of the game. And we're getting to a point now where everybody on the floor, not 100%, all the five men, but all the guys 1 through 4 can make threes, drive it, make plays. And we're getting to a point now where more of the five men can do that than not. And so it's just it's made the game a lot more difficult to defend, obviously. But the skill aspect of it is, to me, always going to be the most compelling part about the beauty of watching the game and the challenge and the beauty of teaching the game.
Rick, Bob Kravitz from Indy Monthly, to your right.
Yeah.
Right. What sets Drew apart as a defensive player? He doesn't have jump out of the gym athleticism, but he's got great functional athleticism. What sets him apart, makes him good at what he does?
Well, he loves the challenge. He has a great intellectual curiosity about defense and the challenge of, trying to, you don't stop players today. You try to make it hard. And he played with Shea on the Olympic team, and so they have familiarity. They're both from Canada. They probably have played a lot with and against each other over the years. But this is the ultimate challenge. A guy like him who's the MVP, and he's just so skilled, so quick, bigger than you think. Everybody talks about the lethal mid-range, but he makes threes easily too. And, he lives at the free throw line. So, there's no breaks. There's no breaks. But, Drew he's just one of these guys that he has an equal focus on the defensive end as the offensive end. And it's a bit rare with today's players.
Again, on your right, Fred.
Rick, I'm curious to get your take. The Thunder foul a lot for a very good defense. Historically, normally really high-ranked defenses don't foul a ton. We're starting to see more in the league now. Like, you guys have fouled a lot during the playoffs, but have been successful defensively. Orlando fouled a lot during the regular season. Really good defense. Are you seeing anything different in the way the game is played today that kind of allows teams to be higher foul but still super successful and bake that into the strategy differently than how it used to be?
You're making it sound like we plan on fouling a lot. We're not. We're trying to defend well without fouling and to avoid unnecessary fouls. But the game's gotten more physical in the last year and a half, whatever, as changes were made to interpretations. And I'm a believer that that's the right way to go. Nobody wants to come to an NBA game and watch a free throw shooting contest and have a game last for 3 hours. And so, I don't know, the game's more physical. As far as the fouls, it's not something we want to do a lot of. And there are a significant number of good defensive teams that don't foul a lot too. And so, Boston comes to mind. They're a low foul team. But we're still working at becoming better and better and better. And certainly one of our challenges is to reduce fouls.
Tim, here in the front.
Tim Reynolds, AP. Rick, everyone's written a lot about how you were 10-15, and then the turnaround started around the 1st of January. Paris was right, a couple weeks into that. Did that week over there bring this team together in some ways? What did that experience coming out of it? Did you notice something new about your group?
Well, it was the latter stages of January, which was our turnaround month. I think we only lost 2 games that month. One of the games was in Paris. And so, we lost the first game in Paris. And we're playing against Victor, and we've got all the Paris fans there. And it's a lot coming at us. It was literally us against, the entire world. We didn't play well that first game. We had a pretty quick turnaround without really the benefit of the practice day because of how the schedule had gone. And so we had to turn things around pretty quickly if we were going to have a chance to win the second game. So, we had a couple of very productive meetings, and there was a lot of conversation. I like to open up our meetings to conversations and sometimes listen to the players first, after a game like that. It was embarrassing. We lost by 30-something, and Victor went crazy, and all their guys played great. And so we talked through it, and it was an important moment going into the second game. This is a massive place. It's 20-some thousand, and just all these other challenges. And, we were able to galvanize for that second game, and it was big. And then, we stayed over, came home the next day, and then I think we had 2 days, and then we had a really difficult game with Detroit at home, who had kicked our ass, 2 or 3 weeks earlier in one of the cup games. And, and they were still like on the come. They were getting better and better and better. And so we really had to be tough for that. And then we had another tough game, and, we finished the month pretty well. That month was key. The Paris trip, certainly probably part of it. We talked a lot about the Paris trip even before the season started and the challenges it was going to present, but also the opportunity that it would present. And, we had to manage, it's 2 games in 9 days. And so, you got the front end. We had to get over there and do 3 days of media similar to this. And then, we had to have an off day as far as being on the court between days. And so, we had to figure some things out, but it certainly was a part of it.
Last 2 questions.
While talking about how the team finished 40-17 after a 10-15 start, but what has gotten everybody's attention is what they've done in the postseason. Their 4 comeback wins that have just been unbelievable. These games against Milwaukee, down by 20 in round 2, down by 20 to Cleveland, down by 17 in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Knicks, and, of course, down by 15 against in this series in Game 1 against OKC. But you're not unfamiliar with Rick Carlisle coach teams. You and him in Dallas winning a championship together back in 2011. And I think people, if they didn't know already, are starting to realize just what a creative genius this guy is in terms of how he coaches his teams.
Yeah, Rick Carlisle definitely probably doesn't get the credit that he deserves as far as being a great coach. And now that people are seeing him do it again, because in that Dallas team that won a championship, I want to say we were the 4th or the 5th seed. Now he's back in the finals with another 4 seed. You don't see coaches do that a lot of times. Like a lot of that's really, really hard to do, because you have to figure out a way to get your team to play at a high level, be the best that it can possibly be. And more importantly, the game plans and the attention to detail have to be exquisite. And that's the thing that I saw the most when playing with Coach Carlisle. When we went on that run in 2011, every single series before this started, he would sit us down and say, hey, this is how we're going to win. This is what we want to take away. This is how we're going to take it away. And if we do that, it will equal this. And as a player, when your coach tells you this is what we're going to do, you go out there and do it, you execute it just the way he says it, and it works. Now you start having even more belief in your coaching staff. You have even more belief when you come over there in timeouts. I'll think back to the last series the Pacers were in. I'm not sure if you saw this play. It was the beginning of the game, and they ran a play against Jalen Brunson to get a layup. Mm-hmm. And it worked to perfection. And if you go, you see the guys on the bench walk over there and they start tapping Carlisle, because you can tell he told them this is the coverage. We're going to run this and get a layup the first time we get it. And then the beauty of what Rick does behind that, he layers his plays. And what I mean by layering your plays is simply he might show you one action and take advantage of it in the first quarter. see what you're going to do, and then show you a different version of that same play later on in crucial moments of the ball game. So from an offensive standpoint, he's an offensive genius, has always had one of the most extensive offensive playbooks in the league, and now he's even learned to let go of the reins a little bit more. And that is where I give him the most credit, because back then he wanted to control everything. Him and Jason Kidd sometimes would go at it because J. Kidd wanted to run certain plays. Right. And now I just see the ease that he has as far as letting his guys make some of those decisions, because he trusts them, he empowered them, and he's given them the tools to be successful.
Case in point, not calling timeout. When he had one in his pocket, letting Haliburton go score that game-winning bucket.
That's a very smart play. You don't want to play against this OKC team, loaded half-court defense, especially if the coaching staff has a chance to really, really look at what they think you're going to run, load up on guys, get the right defensive guys matched up on whoever. Haliburton might not even have that matchup. It might be Lou Dort on him coming out of the timeout. You don't know what it is, and all those little things can change the outcome of a ball game, and that's where you have to grow as a basketball coach, and that's what I see from Rick Carlisle. He used to want to control a lot more. Now he's done a lot better job at letting the flow of the game come to his guys and letting them make those plays.
Didn't Carlisle admit to you and me when we did one of his playoff games a couple months ago that you were the key to that 2011 team?
He did not. He did not say that. That would be very kind, and that would also not be true.
Well, Pascal Siakam also has a championship with the Raptors, going for his second NBA title. Coming up next, he will sit down at the podium as we take you back out to Oklahoma City on NBA TV's Media Availability Day. Well, the Pacers' leading scorer in Game 1 was Pascal Siakam. Here he is at the podium.
From my point of view, I was in 2011 on BWB basketball camp with Masai, late B.J. Johnson, all those cats. And to see that kid to achieve what you did so far, it's pretty amazing. This is your second finals, 3 times All-Star, MVP of the, Eastern Conference Finals. And I just want to see, because the way I see it's amazing, man. See that kid come to be where you are now. How do you reflect on that transition?
Well, first of all, thank you. Appreciate that. That's very nice of you. But I mean, I think it's pretty hard to reflect, when you're still in the journey. Obviously, I'm super blessed. Like you said, that little kid that was Basketball Without Borders would really. I mean, I had dreams, but nothing near what's happening to me in my life, and what I've been able to accomplish. So I'm grateful, and for me, it's amazing, and I'll forever be grateful, to everyone that helped me throughout my journey, and it's great, but it's hard for me to reflect on it because I'm still in it, and I'm still chasing every single day, but I definitely am super grateful.
Next question here on the left.
Salut Pascal, Ismaël C de Radio-Canada. Tu as mentionné à Tyrese après la victoire que tu avais l'impression que vous n'aviez même pas bien joué. À quel point c'est un boost de confiance de mener après la première partie et d'avoir cette impression-là que vous n'avez même pas effleuré ce dont vous êtes capable?
Non, mais bien sûr que dans les matchs, ça fait... Parfois, tu apprends dans la défaite, tu vois. Donc, on a l'opportunité d'apprendre avec une victoire à la clé, mais ça signifie rien à la fin de la journée. Les matchs sont pas identiques. Donc, on doit aller au match prochain, essayer de faire mieux. Et bon, on va voir ce qu'on n'a pas fait bien et essayer de rectifier. Donc, pour nous, c'est ça l'essentiel. Et à la fin, les matchs ne vont pas se ressembler. Donc, on doit approcher ce match avec un nouveau focus, tout nouveau dans nos têtes. Et bon, essayer de voir ce qu'on peut faire.
Mark Spears on the far right.
Yes, Pascal. Kind of going on the first question. In 19, what were your fondest memories of bringing a trophy home?
What was my memories, you said?
Your fondest memories of that, bringing that home?
Like in Cameroon?
Time? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. It was pretty cool. I mean, I think getting to go back home where you're from, I just, for me, I mostly think about like the inspiration that gives to all the other kids out there, just to know that like I'm from where they are, like, and I'm able to do these amazing things. So it was just like a super humbling moment just to go back and seeing the reception and just thinking about the next generation for sure.
Fourth row on the left.
Pascal Siakam from ESPN Brazil. When you look back on those playoffs and what happened so far, such great moments, clutch moments, do you believe there's something different about those Pacers?
What do you mean,
like a championship aura, like?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think for me, for us, we just focus on us. To be honest, we try not to look ahead. It's all about us, the moment, and yeah, I don't really think about those things. I just think about us, and for us, it's game 2, which is the most important thing right now.
Front right.
Pascal, you spent a lot of time working with Jenny. Obviously, I know she's got a big impact on the staff. I was curious what your experience has been like working with her over the past couple of years and what you think of her impact on your guys' group as a whole.
Yeah. Jenny's been awesome. For me personally, just being able to talk to her, get insights on the games, and I think for me, when I came in, I was used to a lot of different things. She's mostly does defense and stuff, but I was used to a lot of things from Toronto or all my the stuff that we used to do, and coming back, to Indy and having a different system and different things. So I had to really adapt to a lot of things, and she's been really helpful for me in that matter. We talk a lot about those things, and she gives me super great insights on what we want to do and what we want to accomplish as a team. She's been great that way. She's a great communicator. And also I just like her positive, just energy about everything. I think it's mostly needed, and even in these moments where sometimes it felt like we didn't do well or whatever, she's always bring that positivity, which is needed for coaching. And yeah, she's done amazing for us, and she's a big help not only for me but for the whole team.
Tim, here on this side.
Tim Reynolds with the AP. Pascal, right in front of you. You've been in the league long enough to know that when a team starts 10-15 or when it starts poorly the first couple months, it doesn't always get right. Sometimes things start bad and just stay that way. What was it about this group that allowed the opportunity to turn things around?
Yeah. No, it was I think when you look at those games, there was a lot of people in and out of the lineups. We had injuries. We had we lost a lot of games, just on some mistakes, So I think when you look at the overall record, it looks the same way. But for us, we just continue to chip away. We just continue to work hard, continue to improve as a team. And then when we got everyone back together, mostly it was everyone healthy, it just, started to get better, for us. And I think it's just, we're resilient. We're not going to give up no matter what. And that's kind of what helped us to just continue to chip away, get better. And for me, I always told the guys, come April, May, and June, we want to be our best. That's the goal as an NBA team. Obviously you want to be in the mix, but you just want to play your best basketball at the right moment.
Fourth row towards the center.
Pascal here, Tencent China. Let's talk about the last play. You guys make tons of corner threes. Actually, you made a right corner three last game. But the last play, Alex Caruso was guarding you, and you made a cut to the basket instead of staying at the corner. So what was the decision-making process back then?
Well, I think it was the end of the clock. I thought I knew Tyrese was going to shoot it, so I just tried to get a rebound, to be honest.
Tim, front right.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. Last time you were in the finals, obviously you're a young kid, third-year guy. What's kind of the difference of the feeling of being a veteran now who's been here before versus being a third-year guy who there was a lot on your shoulders at that time as well?
I think it's a difference just because, again, at that time, I was really, I won't want to say naive, but you're just going into it thinking okay, this is just, it's year 3 for me. We always had good teams. We always won. So everything just felt normal. It was just all right, this is how it's supposed to be, so that's how it felt for me at that time. And I think for me now coming back, I have a little bit more appreciation for it just because of the journey and understanding like how hard it is and how difficult like it is to get to this level and to this point. So I think just in terms of just maturity and just knowing all the experience that I've been through to get me back here, I have another level of appreciation for it. And I think the level of grind and play and just grit is the same because I always had that. But I just think the level of appreciation probably a little bit different.
Second row on the right.
Pascal, Jamal Collier, ESPN. Rick gives you guys a lot of freedom on offense to sort of just do it and figure it out on the court. Just kind of wondering what kind of advantage do you think that guys gives you, or just why do you think that works so well for you guys as a team?
Well, I think it's cool. Obviously, we have like a point guard that obviously runs the show for us and get us in position and also is not just looking to get his. He's moving the ball. He's doing everything for the team. So he starts the engine for us, and we have TJ coming off the bench doing the same thing. Obviously, we have a lot of guards. So the personnel just is like people that just go out there and play. And for me, I like that type of play. Fast. I'm running, and we just being us and playing free basketball. I always love that. And so yeah, it's good that we have that freedom. But I think it's still organized in a way where like we have point guards and we have like guards that get us into whatever we want to get into.
Thank you, Pascal. Tyrese will be right up.
Thank you.
Well, Pascal Siakam and the Pacers have been remarkable. Probably don't want to fall down by double digits, but when they do, they seem to be at their best. 8-1 so far in the clutch this postseason. They've had 5 comebacks when down by 15 points or more in the postseason. And the man that is the head of the stake is Tyrese Haliburton. He hit the shot that was heard round the world in Game 1. Coming up next on NBA TV media availability, Hallie at the podium right here on NBA TV.
The biggest thing when you're growing up is everybody's on the playground or in the driveway or in the gym by themselves. You're 4, 3, 2, 1, shooting it.
Here we go. Haliburton. 5 seconds. 4 seconds. Haliburton for the lead. And the Pacers are moving on. What a comeback in overtime.
For me, I was always encouraged me just to have an imagination.
9 seconds. Haliburton steps back and hits. Tyrese Haliburton trying to take Cleveland's heart.
Haliburton, he'll take it, he'll backpedal, and go! He got it!
The biggest thing for me is I already have the confidence to take the shot in the moment, but I have that confidence from my group. I think everybody's living and dying with it at that point.
Haliburton driving, pulls up, jump shot. It's good! It's good! Tyrese Haliburton does it again!
This group never gives up. We never believe that the game is over until it hits 0. And that's just the God honest truth.
Let's get crunchy!
What's wrong with you?
Tyrese Haliburton, Captain Clutch this postseason with 4 game-tying or go-ahead field goals in the final 2 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime. The most in the last 20 seasons. Better, or I should say more than LeBron, more than Kobe. Remarkable. Here is Tyrese Haliburton at the podium back in Oklahoma City getting set for Game 2. What else does he have up his sleeve?
You talked about hearing some of the doubt over the last summer. It kind of continues a pattern of your career, right, where you've talked about being, I think your phrase was no-star recruit, 12th in the draft, Sacramento traded you, all these things. Taking the broad view, what do you think it is about your game, specifically the way you play, that has made people underrate it at times, even as you've continued to climb levels? Like, what about your approach to the game makes it easy to miss what you're doing at times?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think it's unorthodox. That's a word that can be easily used. Right? My jumper, the way it looks, that's always been criticized coming into the NBA. I think that was honestly a big part of it. And I think sometimes I have an effect on the game that isn't necessarily the gaudy box score numbers. And so the way our game is now, the way the game is digested by fans sometimes, I think it's a lot of box score watchers. And so if my box score doesn't look the way that it's supposed to, I think that can be a part of it as well. So I don't necessarily know the answer, but I know that it's probably not going to stop anytime soon. So, yeah, it's just part of it.
Again, Joe, second row.
Hey, Ty. Like the crew neck, by the
way. Appreciate it.
So you guys won the first 2 games in Cleveland. You won the first 2 games in New York. Just did, one game won the other night. How hard is it to do that? Is there a commonality between all these road victories you guys are picking up? And then for the other side, it's really hard if you're a home team in a playoff series to lose the first 2 and come back and win the series. So are you aware of all that in addition to speaking of how difficult it is to do what you've done so far?
Yeah. Definitely aware, right? But I think winning on the road is hard. Winning an NBA game is hard in general, and especially a playoff game, and let alone a finals game, right? It's not easy. But I think you're just trying to be as present as you can. Like that's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest thing we've talked about as a group is this journey is going to be whatever it is, 18, 19 days until if there's a game 7. So you're trying to take it one day at a time. And that's how we've approached every playoff series that we've been in as a group is how can we take it a day at a time. So today it's about, getting through the media stuff and getting to practice and locking in on what we got to do better for tomorrow. But we want to have a good practice day today. And I think that's just the way we are approaching it. Because if we try to look too far in advance, I think that's where, you have moments in today or yesterday that don't go the way that they should. So you're just trying to take it a day at a time. And that's the biggest thing that coaches preach to us and we preach to each other as a group is how can we just have a good day today to prepare us, for tomorrow. But, the journey to get here all year hasn't been about, when we get to the final. No, it's just been about taking it a day at a time, especially the start we had to the year. So we're aware of, and it's hard not to be, we're human beings. We have social media. We have friends and family, who tell us all the numbers of, if you can win the 2 games at home, what it will, whatever it'll look like or on the road or whatever the case is. But again, you just try not to pay attention to it as best as you can and don't let human nature creep in. Just try to take it a day at a time.
Mark Spears on the far right.
Yeah, Mark Spears, ESPN Landscape. 2 things. One, you mentioned the social media stuff, but some of your stuff is pretty funny. Is there anything that you saw that kind of tickled you? And then 2, I did want to ask you if you could reflect back on your courtship of Pascal and kind of like, hey, you're going to be here kind of mentality with it.
Yeah. First question. Yeah, I see a fair share of the absurd things that are on social media. Get a good laugh out of certain things. I think that's just a part of NBA Twitter in general. It's pretty funny stuff. And then as far as stuff with Pascal, yeah, I can recall everything about getting him here. We were in Atlanta, had a pretty great conversation with him while I was at a dinner. I stepped aside. We talked on the phone for like an hour. I just wanted to have a conversation with him. Hey, is this something that you actually want to do? Do you want to be here? Because I think that the guys who have been a part of the nucleus of this group, we cherish this. We cherish this organization and what we've been able to build here. And when you think every team to ultimately get to, win a championship or play at a high level, right? There's going to be a trade that happens, or you bring in somebody from the outside to come and be a part of it. And you don't want to make the wrong move, right? And, if you go in for Pascal, you want to be about the right things. And I didn't really know Pascal too well other than our small conversations when we would be at like Rico runs or something. So we had a great conversation, and I think we just very much so aligned on wanting to win and that being the emphasis. Obviously, I told him that, hey, I think that, we could really play well together. I think I can get you the ball in space and allow you to do what you do. And, he preached that there's many things that he could do to help me succeed. And we had, many conversations about it. But I mean, that being said, after that conversation, you still don't know if it's going to happen because a trade has to be made and that all that stuff has to be aligned. But this was just a conversation that I initiated because I knew the rumors and I wanted to talk to him about it. Very thankful I did, and we aligned on those things. And I think it's a big part of why we are where we are, and that relationship that we have. We don't spend a lot of time together off the floor. Like, he lives downtown Indy, I live more up north, so it's not like we spend a ton of time together off the floor. But we talk very often, and it's a lot of basketball talk. And I think the biggest thing that I can respect about him is just his work ethic. He comes in the gym. I know he's going to be there every day. I know the exact hoop he's going to be on, so I try not to take his hoop. I let him get his one-on-one work in. And, I think that's seeing him work that hard makes me want to work harder. And I think that goes through our group. So, love having him as a teammate.
Right here on the left.
Jaime Hawkins Jr., NBA correspondent. My question to you is, obviously you guys, the Pacers and OKC, are both very young teams. Do you feel like if this is a moment that is kind of a changing of the guard where you guys are carrying the torch for the league and on to the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a conversation that is more so for, media talk and those things. I think, the changing of the guard really isn't necessarily fair because guys like Bron, Steph, they're still playing at such a high level. So I don't look at it that way. I try not to think of the outside narratives that go into the result of them winning or us winning. Just try to approach it with, we want to win, and whatever the conversation is after, whatever that is, then it'll be what it is. You don't really have control of that as you know. I think it's cool to see young teams having success, and maybe what we're doing or they're doing could be a blueprint for other young teams in this league. But as far as those conversations, those are for the media. We just want to win.
Chris on the far right.
Tyrese, Chris Hagan, Fox 59, Indianapolis. You know how much people love basketball in Indiana. You've been reminded 100 times that it's been 25 years since they've been here. What's the sense of urgency to realize, like you said, it's hard to win a playoff series. It's hard to get here, to seize this moment now when it's just so close.
Yeah, I think, obviously the sense of urgency for Indiana fans and for everybody should be heightened because, we always talk about you never know when you'll get this moment again or if you'll get this moment again. I had a great conversation with Steve Nash a couple days ago, and he said, "Hey, you're in rare air. I've never been there." And I thought, damn, Steve Nash never been to the final. That's pretty crazy, and some guys don't get the chance to do that. And so I'm trying to live in the moment every day. And I think we talked about it as this season went on, especially early in the year when we weren't having success. I thought more and more about how I took last year for granted, the chance to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I felt like, wow, I didn't know what this year would be, especially the way we started the year. Are we going to be a playing team? Could we be a first-round exit? Could we not make the playoffs? All those things were on the table, especially the way the year started. So I think you're just looking at it and trying to just live in the moment every day. And that's not even just a finals thing. That's a life thing, right? We take every day for granted as human beings. We go to sleep and we wake up and, we take that for granted. We take for granted that, that my legs work and that I'm breathing and I'm healthy, all those things. So, yeah, you can always look at it from a bigger picture perspective, and that's important. But I think, that's why I'm just cherishing this moment and just really enjoying what I'm doing right now.
Thank you, Tyrese.
Appreciate it.
This concludes the session in here.
He's not part of the moment. He is the moment.
Yep.
But maybe it's not a moment. Maybe it's a movement. Tyrese Haliburton and the Indiana Pacers have just been ridiculous. You thought coming into this series, there's no way he could ever do it again. And then he did. What else does he have for us in store? We're live for you in Oklahoma City. Maybe lost in the sauce of the heroics of Tyrese Haliburton was the contribution from Obi Toppin off the bench. His 5 threes were the second most made threes in an NBA Finals debut in league history. And check this out. I got to give you this note. In the 11 prior games in the playoffs before Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, he made 5 total threes over 11 games. He's made 7 over the last 2. Here he is with Stephanie ready.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Let's go back to Game 1. You all figured it out. I know you've watched film. How did you do it?
Obviously, just the work we put in. We have amazing coaches around us, the greatest coaches, and we just listen to everything they're telling us to do. And we have great leaders in Ty, Pascal, and Miles. We just follow along and just get the job done.
So if you all can win Game 2, it would be a historic win because you would be the first NBA team to ever win Games 1 and 2 to start 3 straight series. So you obviously have the secret sauce for Games 1. What is the secret, and how are you going to do it?
I mean, we're just going to approach the game the same. We watched film, seen the mistakes that we had. Obviously, we didn't have the best game last game. We still came out with the win, but we was able to learn from it and can't wait for Game 2 to start. So,
how do you see your role as an individual in this series?
Just doing whatever I can to help the team, whether that's making shots, playing defense, being the disruptor on defense, just doing whatever I can, little things to help the team win.
So this is the mecca of sports, right? It's the NBA Finals. As a basketball player, this is what your goals are. Yeah. From the outside looking in, people did not think you could do it. But what's it like inside that locker room? You all have had belief all along.
Yeah, everybody in this locker room believed the whole way, and that's all it takes. We don't need none of the outside noise going on at all. We hear it, but it definitely fuels the fire, but we really don't need it. As long as everybody in this locker room believes, we feel like we can get the job done.
And in this series, we knew there were a lot of similarities between the two clubs, right? You both like to play fast. You both play great defense. You both have good bench play. Well, in Game 1, bench play advantage Pacers. The significance of how you all are able to continue to contribute at a high level, what is that like?
It's just the work. I always say it. We put in a lot of work, and we have great people around us who help us learn and get better in this game. And yeah, we just trust the process and trust our work and do what we got to do when we get out there on that floor.
Okay, so this is a dream come true for you, I'm sure. I'm putting words in your mouth, I know, but...
No, it is, though. It is. It
okay,
definitely is.
Good. So what's been the best part so far of being in the NBA Finals?
I mean, we only played one game, but having my family here, obviously everybody knows my pops and knows that he was a NBA street legend in New York. But for him to experience this and be here, seeing the excitement on his face, he's loving it. Mom Dukes as well, my fiance Mags as well. Everybody's loving the moment, and we're all just living in it. So
that's amazing. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, it's not good to build a double-digit lead in the second half against the Pacers.
That's what they got you right where they want you.
Exactly. Can they continue to live that way? We'll ask Brendan Haywood that question. Plus, back out the Paycom Center where the Pacers are wrapping up their media availability session. We'll hear more from the Pacer players as they get set for Game 2, which, by the way, you can watch pregame and postgame coverage right here on NBA TV Sunday night. Game 2 tips off a half an hour earlier on Sunday night, so our coverage on NBA TV starts 30 minutes earlier. 6 o'clock Eastern, live from Paycom Center. Chris, Isaiah, Shaq, Kenny, and Stephanie will be live from the court, getting you set for Game 2, and then join the crew immediately following the action, live for post-game coverage, where they'll be joined by players, and you'll hear exclusive post-game press conference coverage. That's NBA TV Sunday schedule. We still got more to do here. Sure, Tyrese Haliburton was sensational, but how about the contributions from Andrew Nembhard and Obi Toppin, particularly in that fourth quarter? Nembhard a plus 16, Toppin a plus 17 in the final period. The two of them really helped overcome that 15-point deficit. Here is Andrew Nembhard just a couple of moments ago on the Paycom Center floor.
In Aurora, they've set up TVs in the town square so that people can come and watch your games, and I just wanted to get your reaction to that.
Yeah, no, the mayor told me about that. I think it's super cool. A city like that, nobody really watches hoops, but they kind of gather around me and my success right now, and it's just cool to see, and it's very nice to, it's humbling for sure.
Awesome. And I was just wondering what it was like to be out there in game one of the finals and playing, with Shea. You guys played together, for so long. That must have been a surreal experience.
No, definitely. I think playing in the finals was a crazy experience. Walking on the court was something you live for. And the crowd here was amazing. The noise was the most I've ever felt in the game. So it kind of all just came together, and the nerves settled in, and it was a fun game.
Andrew, can you tell me about your relationship with Coach Julie Mushek and how much, her impact on the game?
Our relationship is great. I love Jenny. She's done a lot for me since I've gotten here on and off the court, just taught me intricate parts of the game and how to deal with a lot of things mentally. And I know she's someone who's always going to be by my side going forward, and got a lot of love for her. And her knowledge of the game has been one of the best I've been around.
Andrew, you've part of your job is always kind of picking up the other team's best player and all that. But what was it like just physically after whatever number of minutes guarding Shea in that environment? And he's going to be in the paint. He's going to try and get you to foul him. He's going to, if you don't, he's like just the mental and physical tackle.
No, it's definitely a job that has no breaks. It's consistent 48-minute job from our whole team. And I think also starting these series, we've gotten lucky enough to kind of win our first series a little earlier. So we've had the week off or so, and it's kind of taking you out of shape a little bit. So first game was kind of getting back into shape and really feeling that pace again.
And like afterwards, how did you feel?
I felt good. I mean, I'm only 25, so I'm pumping back pretty quick. Getting the right stuff in my body. And understand how to pop back in the right place.
How is your defense? This is for Dominican Republic. What do you remember playing alongside Chris Duarte?
Chris was here when I was a rookie. He was someone who has helped me get into the league, and I thought he had a lot of kind of things to kind of teach me as being a second-year guy and just going through what I went through my first year. So a lot of good things coming from me in terms of Chris.
I remember one of your breakthrough moments was a three-pointer you hit against the Lakers. Now it seems like you get as much attention for the defensive work you put in. Did you dial that up over the years, or was it there and you just didn't pay as much attention?
Yeah, I mean, I think ever since I've gotten into the league, I've taken on those responsibilities since my rookie year. My success with them have probably gone up, and that's what you guys are seeing. And I've just gotten more comfortable, more experience, understanding the game in the NBA and how to kind of work around the foul situation. But that's always been something I've tried to lean on, and the thing that tried to put me on the court initially.
Ben was here saying there's not just offensive basketball IQ, there's defensive basketball IQ. How do you look at that?
I think it's a feel thing. I think it's understanding tendencies, what guys like to do, and then what we're trying to accomplish as a team and being in the right spots early. And then also just figuring out on the fly when things don't go well in emergency situations.
How was your defense able to reduce Oklahoma City's ball movement in game one, and just how important is that for you guys to stay ahead in the series?
Say that one more time.
How did your defense as a team reduce Oklahoma City's ball movement in game one, and just how important is that for the rest of the series?
I'm not sure whether it did that or not. I think we talk about playing a full 94-feet game and picking guys up and wearing on them, being physical, being pests out there, and I think that was something for them to adjust to.
Normally, you and Andrew had that little moment. Sorry, you and Shea had that moment. I guess third, fourth quarter, kind of shoved each other basically.
Mm-hmm.
What was that all about?
Just competition, getting a little physical. Guys are out there trying to win the game, and it's no friends at this point,
You've had a few moments where you kind of stepped up to guys in quarters last year, for example. What are people missing about you? Because you don't come across that way.
I think I'm just out there to compete, and I'm willing to do what it takes to get it done, and I'm not too worried about making friends out there. So whatever happens in that sense. Yeah.
Andrew Nembhard, sensational in game one, really picking up from what he did in the regular season, right? 29% from the field in the regular season, 47% in the postseason.
You never see a jump like that.
Especially from a young guy.
Never.
Right. Crazy. We got more to do here as we wrap up our coverage from Paycom Center. We'll get B. Wood's thoughts on what to expect on Game 2 and take a look back at a very special birthday. All right, so we've concluded our media availability session. Brendan Haywood, what did you learn today hearing from the Pacers and Thunder that will impact how Game 2 transpires?
Well, listening to Shea and listening to Mark Dagnall, I understand that the Thunder don't get too high and don't get too low. So I think they're going to come into this game. They're not going to let what happened at the end of Game 1 linger into Game 2. They understand it's a different ball game. They understand what they did well to put them in position to win, and they're going to try to execute on that even more. I like the mental mindset of this team. This is a very young team, but they have a lot of veteran presence to them. They have like a veteran soul.
For as good as the Pacers were over the last few minutes of the game, they were not good over the majority of the game. Can they play better than they did, and how can they do that?
Well, yes, the Pacers can definitely play better. Number one is they have to stop turning the ball over. It was evident from the jump that OKC's defense, their length, their active hands was giving the Pacers problems. The plus 20 turnovers in the first half was an absolute problem. You can't have it. Very, very rarely do you win a game when you turn the ball over that much, period, for a full game, much less a half. So if you're the Pacers, it comes down to taking care of the ball. When we take care of the ball, we have to push the pace, no pun intended, because they're one of the better fast break teams that we have in this league. They don't want to play against OKC's half-court defense.
It's actually interesting to me that people talk so much and focused on the pace of the Pacers. The Thunder, both in the regular season and the playoffs, actually play at a faster pace than the Indiana Pacers. We'll see how that plays out throughout the course of the series. We know that both teams are going to make adjustments. Rick Carlisle, even after a win, is going to do something, layering, as you've talked about. Time now for a flashback.
All right, what we got?
Let's go back to the year 2000.
Oh.
June 6th. Remember this from Allen Iverson making his NBA Finals debut?
Ooh. Don't show my man T. Lue. T. Lue's my guy. I played with T. Don't show T. Lue.
Well, unfortunately, T. Lue, he's going to be caught. You got to look down on the ground for this one. Yep, there he is. There's 10. Stepping right over. AI. And today is the 50th birthday of Allen Iverson. You believe that? AI's 50.
Yeah, he is, man. Happy birthday, Bubba Chuck. A true legend. He lives in Charlotte, too, man, if you ain't know. Yeah.
How do you think the Hall of Famer is celebrating his birthday?
No telling, man. Probably with a lot of family members hanging out, maybe a little barbecue or something in the backyard.
Are you invited to the barbecue?
Probably not.
Am I invited to the barbecue?
Definitely not. You're never invited to the barbecue.
Come on.
You put raisins in the potato salad.
No way.
You definitely do. You look like that type of guy.
Do you put mustard in the potato salad?
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, you got to.
Do you have to?
Yeah, it adds something nice to it. Who wins Game 2?
Game 2, I think OKC bounces back similar to the way they bounced back after a tough defeat in the series against Denver.
Well, great work by Stephanie Reddy and Sean Powell out at Paycom Center. Remember, 6 o'clock Eastern Sunday, our pregame coverage gets underway.
Great working with you, man. Thank you so much.
B. Wood, yeah. Thank you so much. I'm Jared Greenberg. This has been an Arthur Hamilton production.